After seeing so many photos and videos of lakeboats sailing on fine summer days under beautiful blue skies, it's easy to forget that these vessels and their crews work in all sorts of weather. Quite often they go about their toil on cold, wet, gloomy days such as this. And if you're a good vessel chaser like my friend David Story, you'll venture out into the rain in order to capture some video. This is one of his. Here we see the William R. Roche, outbound on the Saginaw River in Bay City, Michigan. Christened on June 22, 1973, the Roche was the first of 4 nearly identical vessels to enter service on the Great Lakes. When the boat made her maiden voyage, she was also the first U.S. modern laker designed with all cabins aft. All 4 of the Roche-class vessels were designed to navigate the narrow river waterways of the Great Lakes ports, as well as the deep waters of the open lakes. They quickly were given the nickname as River Class Lakeboats. Although there is some disagreement between boat nerds as to if or not these are the only River Class lakeboats, in this video we'll just be looking at the 4 quadruplets: the William R. Roche, the Paul Thayer, the Wolverine, and the Roger M. Keyes. The genesis of the river-class vessels began with a room full of bureaucrats and politicians. Their goal was to amend the Merchant Marine Act of 1936 with the Merchant Marine Act of 1970. This named the Great Lakes officially as the 4th United States seacoast. Now federal funds would be applied to the lakes in the same proportion as the Pacific, Atlantic, and Gulf of Mexico seacoasts. Out of that came what was called Title XI. Among other things, this was a system of federal loans for new and improved Great Lakes vessels. In all, there were 12 vessels to come out of Title XI. 4 of those were designed along the lines that were quite unique by Great Lakes standards of the era. Each of these river-class boats had all accommodations aft. Although they had a standard bluff bow, their sterns were low to the water, half-cone shapes. The boats had a standard self-unloading system. However, their boom supports were constructed behind the pilot house. Additionally, they all had twin smokestacks, with their boom support extending aft between the stacks. When fully loaded, these vessels had a very low profile and ran with the water right up to the lower edge of their anchor recesses. Each boat came into service with a bow thruster and a 260-foot-long self-unloading boom. All but one of the river-class boats were constructed as oil burners with twin 2,800 horsepower 16-cylinder diesel engines, manufactured by the Alco Engine Company in Auburn, New York. 3 of the 4 vessels had nearly identical dimensions. The Roche, Thayer, and Wolverine were all 630 feet in length, 68 feet in beam, and 38 feet in depth. The The Kais, which was the second of the River Class boats to be launched, differed from her sisters only in size and her power plants. She was 680 feet in length, 78 feet in beam, and 42 feet in depth. With this class of lakeboats, efficiency was the key to their design. For the 630-footers, their length, plus their 1,000 horsepower bow thrusters, not only made them nimble in places such as Milwaukee, Holland, Bay City, and Saginaw, but also allowed them to make their way up the Cuyahoga River in Cleveland. In the 1970s, that meant that they were just as capable of carrying long-haul iron ore as they were for carrying short-haul stone products. The William R. Roche came out in 1973, sailing for the Kinsman fleet. In 1976, the Pringle Transit Company, which was a subsidiary of Ogilvy Norton, took over her management. 9 years later, she was merged into the Ogilvy Norton fleet and renamed David Z. Norton. August 2, 2006, saw the David Z. Norton sold to the Wisconsin and Michigan Steamship Company. At that same time, they also purchased her sister vessels, the Earl W. Ogilvy, which was the Paul Thayer originally, and the Wolverine. The sale of these three vessels spelled the end of the Great Lakes fleet of Ogilvy Norton. Rand Logistics, the parent company of the Lakes Transportation, Lower Lakes Towing, and Grand River Navigation Companies, purchased the three River Class Lakeboats on February 13, 2008. They renamed the David Z the Calumet, and the Earl W was renamed the Manitowoc. Both vessels currently sail under those names as of the making of this video in 2022. Wolverine was renamed Robert S. Pearson by those same owners and was flagged under their Canadian division. That leaves us with the second River Class boat, the Roger M. Kais. She entered service on July 28, 1973, for the American Steamship Company, and was the second River Class vessel to appear on the lakes. This was because the Paul Thayer would not make her debut until November 19, 1973, and the Wolverine would not make her debut until October 15, 1974. The Kais was powered by two General Motors EMD Type V20 diesel engines. Each was rated at 3,600 horsepower. On June 15, 1989, the Kais was renamed Adam E. Cornelius. From 1994 until 1999, she was chartered to the Inland Steel Company and repainted in their famous colors. The boat returned to the American Steamship Company that year and ran for them until 2015, when she was laid up at Port Huron. In 2018, she was sold to the Algoma Central Company, reflagged Canadian, and renamed Algoma Compass. Like her sisters, she remains in service as of the making of this video. So it has been that while their colors and nationality have changed over the years, these four River Class motor vessels still haunt the rivers and lakes as well as the seaway. So if you venture out to the lakes or along the riverways, you may actually spot one of the River Class vessels passing by. Make sure you get your pictures and make sure you get your video. These vessels don't sail forever.